And summertime often means pool time, too, but sadly that can also mean drowning. The CDC reports drowning deaths are on the rise, and the signs of someone drowning can be surprisingly easy to miss. Here's ABC's Gio Benitez with an eye-opening experiment.
It looks like any other summer pool party, young people splashing in the water, parents enjoying the barbecue. But somewhere in this pool, 5 different swimmers are about to simulate that they're drowning. And we're wondering if these moms and dads can spot them. Drowning can happen in just seconds, and it's often difficult to spot. It's happening to someone in this public pool right now. Can you spot it? There she is. Fortunately, a lifeguard spots her and makes the rescue. But it's in residential pools, where lifeguards usually aren't present, that the majority of drownings take place. Safety experts say part of the reason, distracted parents, talking on their phones, grilling, socializing, and supervising other children with no water watcher, a person with eyes on the water at all times. So we've invited this group of parents to a pool party, assigning them tasks like running that grill and, of course, tending to their own young kids. We've also added swimmers splashing in the pool, but those swimmers are actually trained lifeguards and swim instructors from Swim Gym Swim School, skilled in mimicking a drowning. The parents know they're here to learn about water safety with some sort of demonstration beginning in about an hour. But since drowning often happens when you least expect it, we begin right now. With cameras rolling, I watch from a garage just next to the pool, observing some parents checking the water, but mostly they're focused on their assignments and the party. And after 30 minutes,
there we go, she went under.
Our swim instructor, Kelly, begins simulating a drowning, struggling to keep her head above water, arms clawing for the surface, and just like the real thing, she barely makes a sound. Meanwhile, our guests seem not to notice. More than a minute goes by.
She's still struggling and nobody's looking. We're now looking at more than 2.5 minutes and still nobody notices a thing.
After more than 4 minutes, she simulates a worst-case scenario and stops moving. Remember, she's a trained professional and is just acting. Josh from the American Red Cross has been watching with us.
4.5 minutes, still no parent noticed anything.
Right.
Does that surprise you?
It does not.
Kelly goes back to swimming, and we cue another swimmer, and another, and another. All mimicking a drowning, but nobody steps in.
We don't realize how quickly these kind of things can go from just a fun pool party to an incident where someone needs help.
So now the kids are going to get out of the water, they're going to go get some snacks, and they're going to leave someone behind, and that person is going to start drowning.
After 30 seconds of purposeful struggling, this dad spots her.
You all right? Huh? Within 36 seconds, he noticed.
It's great that he noticed. We hope that they would notice faster.
He says in some cases, swimmers can submerge in just seconds, making them even more difficult to spot. It's time to reveal our experiment.
There were 4 drownings that nobody spotted. What's that make you think?
My kids were on the deck, so I turned my back. Doesn't mean there weren't other kids in the pool, though.
I got thrown off by the age.
Yeah.
So I think we took for granted that they all knew how to swim.
For the man who spotted our victim, it's too close to reality.
You were visibly shaking.
Yeah.
Why were you so nervous?
It did happen to my child.
His daughter, Valentina, survived, but he says when she was just 3, she began drowning in a hot tub. He was on the phone.
I got a phone call, and I got distracted, and she was in trouble. So that brought memories.
Water safety experts say one of the solutions is a water watcher, somebody standing next to the pool, free from distractions, constantly scanning the water for any signs of distress, rotating every 15 minutes to avoid losing focus. We show the parents what they missed.
This is that moment when she's motionless in the water. And this seems to be very emotional for you.
They're all our kids. What else do you say?
Gio Benitez, thank you. And for more, let's bring in water safety advocate Chezik Tsunoda with a little bit more on this. Chezik, drowning is the leading cause of death in children ages 1 to 4, the second leading cause of death in children 5 to 12. And we just saw in that report how hard it can be to spot when you're an adult, let alone a child is in trouble. So are there any tips to make that easier, aside from obviously we heard having a water watcher, but what else can we do to not let this go unnoticed?
Really, truly, it's being not distracted, right? And being able to have that focus. Ideally, you're swimming in a place where there is a lifeguard. And even when there is a lifeguard, they should be your second line of defense. But it really is noticing those moments and being able to scan the water with children in a pool or even in open water.
I think often when we think of drowning, you think of someone shouting for help and flailing their arms, and even just seeing that and knowing that it's actually often very quiet and very still is a good thing to be aware of. But I've also heard about the color of a swimsuit potentially impacting, avoiding blue swimsuits so they don't blend in with the pool. Does that help?
It really does. Just having something bright, because when someone is sinking to the bottom, it really is blending in. I would avoid white as well, honestly. So having those bright colors, and also having children who are not great swimmers, even in a pool, having life jackets on is incredibly helpful and can save a life.
And Chezik, you say drowning statistics are higher among Black and brown children. Why is that?
So really, this is due to historical segregation. So Black and brown folks were not allowed in pools back in Jim Crow days, and that has really trickled down. You're only 13% likely to learn how to swim if your parent does not know how to swim. So you can imagine how many families still are avoiding the water because their grandparents and beyond did not know and learn how to swim. Also, there is just lack of access, right? When you don't know that you do need to get swim lessons and how important and life-saving that skill is, it's not a priority.
And I know your advocacy came through tragedy, losing your son. What do you want parents to know about preventing drowning and how unexpectedly it can happen?
It really is unexpected. And honestly, watching your segment just now was pretty emotional, just because I imagine my son who drowned in a backyard pool, kind of going through that same scenario. It is so quick and it is so quiet. And my children were in swim lessons, and you really, you just never know. So it is really important to be on high alert when you're in and around pools and beaches. Even when a child is at the beach playing in the sand, your eyes still need to be there. So we really have to be diligent around this and teach our kids how to swim.
Well, Chezik, I'm sorry for your loss. I'm sure you've heard that, and I know it doesn't change it, but it's beautiful what you're doing to try to pay this forward now and help other families. So thank you.
Thank you so much for having me, and everyone have a safe summer.
You too.